They looked me up and down like I didn't belong, like I had wandered in off the street by mistake. I walked into that luxury car dealership with my head held high. I was dressed in a simple t-shirt, jeans and sneakers, nothing fancy, but clean and comfortable. I didn't think twice about what I was wearing that day. Why should I? I had come to buy a car, not ask for permission to exist. But the moment I stepped through the doors, I felt it, the stares, the smirks, the whispers. 2 salesmen at the front desk glanced at me, then looked at each other and laughed under their breath. One of them muttered something, and they both chuckled like I was part of some private joke. No one approached me, no one said hello, or asked if I needed help. I took a few steps toward the car I had dreamed about for years, sleek, black, polished, but still, nothing, just more looks, more silence, more judgment. It wasn't just the way they looked at me, it was the way they didn't like I wasn't worth their time. And in that moment, I made a decision. They were going to regret this. I didn't grow up around luxury. In fact, I didn't even grow up around comfort. My mom raised me on her own, working 2 jobs just to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. There were nights when dinner was just toast and peanut butter, and even that was a blessing. We lived in a tiny apartment that always smelled faintly of bleach and old carpet. The walls were thin, and the neighbors were loud. But my mom never complained. She used to tell me, "Baby, we might not have much, but we've got pride and purpose. Don't you ever forget that." I didn't. From a young age, I knew I wanted something more, not just for the sake of having it, but to prove to myself that where I came from didn't have to define where I ended up. I remember walking past this luxury dealership when I was about 12. I would press my face against the glass and stare at the cars like they were spaceships. One day, I told myself, I was going to walk in there and buy one of those cars, not just any car, the black one, with the red interior. It had this elegance that stuck with me. It became a symbol of the life I wanted to build. But wanting something doesn't mean people will believe you deserve it. All through school, I felt it. The teachers who doubted my abilities, the students who made jokes behind my back, the people who looked at my skin and assumed my worth. I learned to live with it, but I never let it stop me. By the time I was 16, I was cleaning houses on weekends and tutoring younger kids in math after school. I saved every dollar I could. My mom couldn't afford college for me, but I made it my mission to earn every scholarship I could apply for, and I did. I got into a good university with a full ride. I majored in business, not because it sounded impressive, but because I wanted to understand the system I was stepping into. I wanted to build something of my own, from scratch. It wasn't easy. I worked through college, barely slept, but I graduated top of my class. Then, while my friends chased jobs at big firms, I started small, just me and a laptop in my tiny studio apartment. I called it my consulting firm, even though at the start, it was mostly just me offering advice to struggling startups for barely any money. The clients were few, and the money was even less, but I believed in what I was doing. I kept learning. I kept showing up. I didn't come from wealth, I didn't have connections, but I had grit, and grit goes a long way when people underestimate you. In the beginning, nobody took me seriously. I'd walk into meetings with potential clients, some barely looked up from their phones, others smiled politely, listened to my pitch, and then told me they'd get back to me, which was code for never. A few didn't even bother hiding their doubt. I was young, black and a woman. That was strike 1, 2 and 3 in their eyes. I lost count of how many times I was told, "We're looking for someone with more experience," or "You just don't seem like the right fit for our brand." Each rejection stung. I'd cry some nights, questioning if I had made the biggest mistake of my life. Maybe I should have played it safe and gotten a job at a big company like everyone else. But deep down, I knew that path wasn't for me. So I kept pushing. I read everything I could about marketing and strategy. I took online courses, went to networking events, even if no one talked to me. I studied the mistakes I made with my early clients and learned from every single one. Then, one day, something shifted. I helped a small clothing brand double their online sales in 3 months. They were shocked and grateful. Word started spreading. A friend of theirs reached out, then another. Suddenly I had a few steady clients. They weren't huge names, but they were consistent. That's when I found my niche. Helping small to medium businesses rebrand and grow through digital strategy. I wasn't promising magic. I was delivering real results. The turning point came in my 3rd year, when a mid-sized skincare company I worked with got featured in a national magazine. Their sales exploded. They gave me full credit. After that, bigger companies started reaching out. Slowly but surely, my inbox changed from cold shoulders to real interest. 5 years in, I had a full team of consultants working with me. We had contracts with major corporations, steady revenue, and glowing testimonials. I had more money than I ever imagined growing up. But I never forgot where I came from. I still lived in the same modest apartment. I still drove my old beat-up sedan that rattled every time I made a sharp turn. My friends would laugh and ask why I didn't upgrade, and I'd just smile, because for me, success wasn't about showing off. It was about having options, and I knew I'd buy that dream car one day. Not because I needed to prove anything to the world, but because it was a promise I had made to myself as a little girl with her face pressed against that dealership window. I just didn't know that when that day finally came, it would play out so differently than I ever imagined. It was a Friday afternoon, when I finally decided to do it. I had just signed a major contract with a global tech company. It was my firm's biggest deal to date. My team had celebrated all morning, but I slipped away quietly and drove across town to the dealership I had dreamed about for years. I knew exactly what I wanted. The sleek black car with the red interior. It had been in the back of my mind since I was 12. I was ready now. I wasn't walking in for a test drive. I was walking in to buy it. I stepped through the glass doors with a smile on my face, feeling like a younger version of me would have burst with pride. But that pride didn't last long. The moment I entered, the air changed. 3 men in suits were standing near the reception desk. One glanced at me, looked me up and down, then turned back to his coworker and muttered something. They both laughed. Another one gave me a polite, tight-lipped smile, but said nothing. I waited, thinking someone would approach me. I walked slowly past the front desk, toward the car I had come to see. I paused next to it, running my hand gently across the hood. Still no one said a word. Finally I turned and walked back toward the front counter. "Excuse me," I said, trying to catch someone's attention. A salesman finally looked at me and raised an eyebrow. "You need directions, ma'am?" "No," I replied. "I'm here to look at this car." I motioned toward the one I had admired for years. He chuckled. Not kindly. "That one. You know we've got some pre-owned vehicles in the lot out back. Might be a better fit for your budget." I felt my face get hot. "I'm not looking for a used car," I said, keeping my voice calm. Another salesman joined in, shaking his head. "We don't really do test drives just for fun. That car's a serious investment." That one stung. They didn't know anything about me, what I did, what I earned, what I overcame. But to them, I was just some girl in jeans, probably wasting their time. I stood there, heart pounding, unsure whether to scream or cry. But I did neither. I nodded, thanked them for their time, and walked out the door. As I got into my old car and drove away, I could still hear their laughter in my head. They didn't see me. But that was about to change. I didn't shout, I didn't argue. I didn't go on social media to blast them. I went home. I sat on the edge of my bed for a while, staring at the floor. My chest felt tight, not from anger, but from something deeper. That quiet, familiar ache of being seen as less. It had followed me most of my life, but I thought I had finally left it behind. Turns out, it was still waiting for me. But instead of breaking me, it woke something up inside me. I walked over to my desk, picked up my phone, and made a call. "Hey Marcus," I said calmly. "You still in touch with that broker you introduced me to last year?" Marcus had helped me during the sale of a part of my company just 6 months ago. It was a huge deal that brought in more than enough to retire if I wanted. But I didn't want to retire. I wanted to grow. Build. Shift the power. He gave me the number. I called the broker immediately. We'd worked together before, so he didn't ask too many questions when I said I needed something done quietly. "I'm looking into buying a business," I told him. "A specific one. A car dealership. I need to know if it's privately owned, and if the current owner would even consider selling." He paused. "Do you want me to make contact?" "Not yet," I said, "just find out what you can without bringing me into it." He agreed. Said he'd get back to me in a few days. I hung up and sat back in my chair. I wasn't doing this out of spite. This wasn't about revenge. This was about change. Because the next time I walked through those dealership doors, I wasn't going to be ignored. I was going to own the place. It didn't take long. Within a week the broker called me back. "It's privately owned," he said. "Family-run business for about 20 years. But the owner, he's been looking to sell, just hasn't found the right buyer. I think we've got a window." I didn't hesitate. Set up the meeting. 2 days later, I was sitting in a private conference room with the owner. A man in his early 60s. Polite, sharp, and clearly tired. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? He wasn't there that day. We made small talk before getting down to business. He explained his reasons for stepping away. "My kids aren't interested in taking over," he said. "I've been waiting for someone who understands the value of the brand. Someone who won't ruin what I built." I smiled. "I think I'm that person." We talked numbers. He offered his price. I didn't flinch. "I'll pay in full," I told him. "No loans. No investors. Cash." His eyes widened slightly, and I could see I had his full attention now. 2 weeks later, the paperwork was done. It was mine. My lawyers helped keep my name off public filings for now. Everything was under a holding company I controlled, and the existing staff hadn't been told who the new owner was. I didn't need attention. I needed impact. The former owner agreed to deliver the announcement himself. Said he'd gather the staff for a quick meeting one morning and break the news. I told him I'd be there too, but quietly. Watching. That morning, I arrived early and sat in a small office tucked away in the back. A glass window gave me the perfect view of the sales floor without being seen. I saw them all. The same men who had laughed at me. The same ones who didn't think I was worth a hello. They stood in a small group, confused and whispering, trying to figure out what the big announcement was about. One of them even joked, "Maybe we're finally getting that new coffee machine." They laughed. Again. A few minutes later, the former owner walked in, clapped his hands, and asked for everyone's attention. "All right, everyone," he said. "Just wanted to let you all know that the dealership officially has a new owner. Effective immediately." There was a pause. Then murmurs. He continued. "She's an experienced businesswoman. Quiet, smart, and very well funded. I think you'll find her leadership refreshing." Their expressions shifted fast, from amusement to confusion to full-on panic. One of them muttered, "She." I leaned back in my chair and waited. The moment was coming. I waited until the room was quiet. Then I stood up, smoothed down my blazer, and stepped out of the back office. The sound of my heels on the showroom floor made a few heads turn. The salesman looked confused at first. I walked with calm, steady confidence. No anger, no smugness. Just presence. I stopped in front of them. Looked each of them in the eye. "Do you remember me now?" I asked. Silence. Their faces shifted slowly from puzzled to pale. One of them blinked rapidly, clearly trying to place me. Another took a small step back. "I came in here a few weeks ago," I said. "Wearing jeans and sneakers. Asked about that black car over there." I nodded toward it. "You all acted like I didn't exist." They still said nothing. Just stared. "I'm the new owner." The room went still. Completely still. "My name is Ayana," I continued. "I'm the founder and CEO of a consulting firm that works with global corporations. I've spent the last 10 years building something from the ground up. And now, I own this dealership." You could hear a pin drop. Some of the newer staff looked surprised, but curious. A few others looked terrified. And honestly, they should have been. I wasn't there to humiliate anyone. That wasn't the point. But I was there to make change. Over the next few days, I held individual meetings. I listened to each staff member, reviewed their records, and paid close attention to how they responded, not just to me, but to the shift in leadership. Some were genuinely remorseful. They admitted they'd judged me, and learned something from it. I offered them retraining, gave them a second chance. Others, the ones who mocked and dismissed me, without an ounce of humility, they were let go. I brought in a new manager, one who shared my vision for respectful, inclusive, customer-centered service. I updated company policies, held workshops on unconscious bias and professional ethics, and raised the hiring standards. Slowly the energy in the building changed. The staff became more thoughtful. Customers were treated with the same level of care, no matter what they looked like, or what they were wearing. I didn't need to hang my photo on the wall, or brag about what I'd done. The work spoke for itself. And one day, as I stood in front of that same black car, the one I had dreamed about since I was 12, I smiled. I didn't just buy a car. I bought back my dignity, and I made sure no one else would ever be made to feel the way I once did. Looking back, I realize, it was never just about the car. It was about something deeper. About respect. About walking into a room, and knowing you belong, whether others see it or not. For most of my life, people underestimated me. They saw my skin, my background, my quiet nature, and assumed I wasn't capable. I never yelled. I never demanded attention. I just worked. Quietly. Relentlessly. And when the moment came, I didn't need to prove anything. My success spoke for itself. I didn't buy that dealership to get even. I bought it to change the way people are treated when they walk through those doors. To show that you don't need to fit someone else's idea of wealth or power to own the room. If you're watching this right now, and you've ever been overlooked, dismissed, or doubted, remember this: never let anyone define your worth. You don't have to raise your voice to make noise. Success, when it's real, doesn't shout. It echoes. If this story moved you, don't forget to like comment alert for more inspiring stories. And please, share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. If you were moved by this story, Please take a moment to like this video. It helps us reach more people with powerful messages like this. Comment your thoughts below. We'd love to hear how this story made you feel. Subscribe to the channel for more true, inspiring, and emotional stories shared from the heart. And most importantly, share this video with someone who needs a reminder of their worth, their strength, and their power to rise above. Your support means everything.